welcome to my stream. I am Daswolfen. I am sorry. I was actually doing the stream and apparently it didn't connect. So I did the first half hour of it until I realized started to say something in the chat, and there was nobody in the chat because the stream didn't actually start. So yeah, so that happened. But it wouldn't be me without technical glitches, now would it? So we will pick up where we left off, or where left off last time. The this is the part 2 of the Heisei era Godzilla movies. Now we did the first 3 last time. I hope to get to 4 today, although with the half-hour mistake that I had, it's probably only going to be 2, so this will stretch out by another episode. Sorry about that. But but we're going to start. We're going to start with Godzilla versus Mothra, and let me bring up the slideshow for that. And all right, there we go. Now Godzilla vs. Mothra was released in 1992, and it's the 19th Godzilla film and the 4th in the Heisei era. It's a remake of the 1964 classic Mothra vs. Godzilla with some changes. In this film, Godzilla faces off against 2 giant moths, Mothra, the Guardian of the Earth, and Batra, her evil counterpart. This film also introduced the Cosmos, 2 tiny fairies who can communicate with Mothra and warn humanity of an impending meteorite impact, which is basically an asteroid that's going to wipe out the Earth. Yeah, so that's a little spiel I wrote, sorry. It sounds lame. But this was directed by oh, hey Ariel, hey Lady V Elements. Glad you guys can join me. Sorry about that. Like I said, the beginning of the stream, it cut off like after just a couple of minutes, and it wasn't streaming, and I didn't realize it until I'd gone about a half hour. So I had almost finished Godzilla vs. Mothra when I realized, oh wait, I'm not streaming. So we're back here at the beginning. So we'll probably only get 2 today, but we'll get through at least 2. But the like I said, the first one is Godzilla versus Mothra. I explained that. It's pretty self-explanatory. The guy you see on the screen here, what is his name? His name is Takeyu Fujita, and he's a tomb robber. Well, he's a tomb robber in Thailand. And oh hey Martine, welcome. Sorry about the lateness. Anyway, so he went there to rob a tunnel. Rob a temple. As he climbs out, he's arrested by policemen, but they're studying they're there to study the effects of what had happened and the environment. So they basically co-opt him into going with them. And of course, he has a daughter that he's neglected to pay child support for. He's not a very good father. So he gets, they're going to pay him the salary and give it to her. So he leads this expedition. So they basically go to a part of Indonesia that where they're gonna, they're going through Indonesia. They're going on this expedition to I don't know, it doesn't really say what the expedition was for. Oh, they were looking at the destruction that the this corporations had, Marmuto. Um, so that as they go, they get lost at the center of this island. It's an island near Indonesia. And they find, of course, Mothra's egg. Meanwhile, up in Siberia, which is where, well, go back in time. The twins are, when they get to him, will tell the story about this society. There's the twins. The society from 12,000 years later. No, there's no skeleton turtle. This is Moth and Godzilla. But there was a society 12,000 years ago that worshipped Mothra. They were a peaceful society. Well, their scientists made a weather controlling machine, and the earth got, basically the spirit of the earth got mad and created another version of Mothra to fight and destroy this civilization. But Mothra arises to defend her people, and basically this other moth is killed and buried in Siberia. So that's where they're gonna, Batcher's gonna rise from Siberia and start heading for Japan. Now it's just a larva. It's just larval stage at this point. Like if you've seen, um, the original Godzilla versus Mothra versus Godzilla from '62, uh, they start out and in a cyclic format. Mothra keeps coming back as from, go to larval state, egg, larval state, Mothra, egg, larval state, Mothra, whole cycle. But yeah, so, well, there's Batra. There's the larval form of Batra. You can definitely tell it's not a very nice creature. They do really good on the looks of these creatures. But to go back to this, I was talking about the director. It was directed by Keo Akawa, and he has directed most of the last four of the Heisei era, with the exception of Godzilla vs. Space Godzilla, because at the time he was filming Yamato Takura, which is also known as Orochi the Eight-Headed Dragon, which is a fantasy kaiju movie, which is something you ought to, if you have time, you can track down and check out. I might cover it here later on when I do the non-Godzilla kaiju movies. Although I'm going to be covering some non-Godzilla kaiju movies before then, because they fit in with these movies here. So, but I'll explain that when we get to the point in the movie that I can describe that. But of course, all the music was done by the legendary Akira Ifukube, and he's the one that's done the classic Godzilla theme since '54. So he's basically Japan's John Williams. So he does like all the he's done a lot of the themes for the Godzilla movies, and he's done all the themes for the Godzilla movies. Now that I look at it as a list here, all the way up to Godzilla Final Wars. And tracks of his was used in Shin Godzilla in 2006 because we lost him in 2016 because we lost him in 2006. So they used some of his music so that his, that music is still part of the yes, Ariel, they allowed him to take Mothra's egg, and of course Mothra's egg hatches along the way, and Godzilla shows up. Godzilla gets hosed by Mothra. Batra's larva shows up to take out Mothra, but Godzilla gets in a fight with him, and they sink to the bottom of the trench. So they were going to taking it back to put it on display. So, but yeah, so there's basically an underwater volcano that's erupting, and they're going to sink into the lava. So, and everybody's going to think he's dead, but we know better, don't we? Because we're Godzilla fans, and we know that lava won't actually hurt Godzilla. It's like a hot tub to him. So. But yeah, so that was the whole, that was the showing them where Godzilla and Batra went into the lava of the volcano. Basically they go to the city of Manila. There's this whole romance subplot about them getting back together. It takes away from the no, Martine, no. You can't make me do this. You can't make me do that one. No. That movie doesn't exist. But anyway, that's the guy's daughter that he's not being a good dad to. But they realize that the cosmos has disappeared. And so yeah, so they basically get captured by the bad guys. So they've been taken by this company, Marutomo, and they're the ones responsible for that. Not you too, Ariel. It's somebody you can call a rose a turd blossom. That doesn't mean it's a turd blossom. It's a rose. Which would be appropriate name for that movie is Turd. Oh, Notzilla. All right, okay. I'm not familiar with Notzilla. I'll have to look into that. I thought you were referring because you're the defender of the 98 Iguana movie. And I'm completely lost where we are now. I believe that's the corporation. The twin. Yeah, they captured the twins, sang to Mothra. Uh, and Mothra. Is obviously coming to Japan because the twins sang the summoning song for him. But to go back where I was, oh yeah, the the twins were stolen by the Takura, the guy that they caught coming out of the temple. He's wanting to resell them to an American company for $1 million. So anyway, Mothra arrives in Japan. Its Japanese Defense Force are ineffective as normal. I don't know why they even um, bother doing that. Bother trying to fight them and just get out of their way. So let me see. Let me look at that link real quick. At Notzilla. When did that come out? 2020. Huh. I will give that a look. I might cover that since it's not that other movie. Who's in it? Nobody I know. Oh yeah, it's definitely a spoof. So it looks interesting. Yeah, well, the that would be a little hard considering it was this movie came out 30 years later. But so Mothra's making her cocoon, and so she's gonna molt into Mothra. And bring back the synopsis again. Let's see. Yeah. But basically, well, after she get done making the sealed that sealed cocoon of hers, uh there's an earthquake and they realize that the lava under Mount Fuji has increased in pressure. And of course the guy running that company is wondering why it's his targets. It's his projects they're being targeted, but yeah. So we know what that lava is. It's Godzilla coming back. And so yeah, he basically swum through the molten lava and popped up in from Mount Fuji. And so of course, there's you've got to cover the Godzilla stomping through Japan, and the twins are gonna. Uh, is this where Batra arises? Oh, that's Mothra still. But basically, Batra has come up from the sea, and he's going through a transformation zone. That's possible, Ariel. They could just be fighting him to distract him, but nobody seems to. None of the monsters seem to pay any attention to him. So basically, there's Mothra. And here in a second, there's Batra. Batra shows up. Batra and Mothra are going to fight. And then, of course, we're going to get Godzilla. Well, Godzilla's going to side with Mothra. Basically, Batra's going to knock Mothra down and go fight Godzilla. Well, that's not going to go well for him. So, but Mothar's gonna, while Godzilla's fighting Batra, she's gonna release yeah, but he goes after Batra first. See there, he's fighting Batra after knocking Mothra down. But Mothar's basically gonna, while they're fighting after Godzilla takes Batra down, she's gonna weaken him with some of her dust. That'll weaken him, and then but she actually goes and now here's the fight. I'm getting ahead of the fight now. That's sorry about that, but yeah, you can see there's Mothar's been forced down, and of course the twins are concerned. The Cosmos. So they're gonna sing. But yeah, so there's after she's weakens Godzilla, she goes and heals Batra. And now Batra and Mothra are friends, and they're gonna fight Godzilla, and Godzilla's gonna not get the is gonna be not the winner of this combat. He's gonna get driven off. Oh yeah, so it's this is I guess he's technically still a villain at this one. He hasn't switched over to anti-hero. He doesn't do that until later on. Yeah, see there's the dust and it's weakening him, and they'll team up, but Godzilla's gonna take a chunk out of Batra when they're flying him away. There he is taking a chunk out of Batra there. He bites his neck and wounds him. But they're gonna pick up Godzilla and fly him out to the ocean. But basically Godzilla's gonna hit Batra with his atomic breath. There he is. He's gonna hit, as you can see, the position that Batra's in. He's gonna hit him point blank range with his atomic breath, and that's gonna be into that. So Mothra's gonna have to drop him in the sea. But she uses her pollen to make make her cross symbol that supposed to seal. You'd be an energy seal. That is gonna supposed to seal Godzilla away. Yeah, their mom's name's Mothra. The but basically they find out from the twins that in 1999, keep in mind this is 92, a giant asteroid is going to slam into the Earth that's supposed to destroy all life on the Earth, and Batra was supposed to wake up and intercept to destroy the asteroid because it was also sworn to protect the Earth. So instead, Mothra takes up that claim, and she's going out to take out the take out the asteroid, and she's going to return if the Earth is ever threatened again. So now, I mentioned that I was going to be doing some non-Godzilla kaiju movies that tie into this. There's 3 Mothra movies, and they pick up with Mothra in space. So I'll cover them after I get done with the Heisei era, because they're part of the Heisei era, and they're also Toho. So I will. I will cover them when I get done with the Heisei era. So the next movie is, let me start the film strip, is Godzilla versus Mechagodzilla 2. This takes place 7 months after the fight between Godzilla and King Ghidorah, after he comes back as after Ghidorah comes back as Mecha King Ghidorah. But they're building their own version of Godzilla called Mechagodzilla. Now this has nothing to do with the original, even though they call it Mechagodzilla 2. But that's just so you don't get them confused. Yeah, so they're basically the United Nations Godzilla Countermeasures Center, because they're building this Mechagodzilla. And so it's going to be done in '94. It's going to take them 2 years to build it. And yes, I've played the Ariel. I've played the SNES Godzilla game. But anyway, so there's this scientific expedition that's gone to they found an irradiated island in the Bering Sea called Dodona Island, and they're going to come across a gigantic nest containing 2 large eggs, one hatched, one still intact. They remove the unhatched eggs from the nest and bring it to their camp for further study. However, their actions being observed by the former occupant of the second egg, Rodan, a giant pteranodon. We all know who Rodan is. Of course, we have to get Rodan involved because, he's one of the 3 original kaiju that Toho made. There's Godzilla, Mothra, Rodan, and Mothra. And they're the ones that get the separate movies from Godzilla. Now, this is before Rodan becomes Fire Rodan, obviously. That'll happen in later movies. So basically, Rodan's going to attack, destroy the camp, but Godzilla's going to show up. Yep, Ariel, Rodan hasn't had his own movie since his own first movie, Rodan. I believe Rodan was 56. Give me a second. I will look that up. Yep, 1956. So yeah. Yep, he's just a giant pteranodon. I mean, let's be honest, out of all the kaiju, he is the least interesting. Until they make him Fire Godzilla, he's just It basically just flies really fast. It doesn't have beams or anything like that, so. So, but yeah. Yeah, but he shoots stuff and has magic dust, and she's uh the good kaiju, one trying to protect the earth. So anyway, they're dealing with this egg. It's going to hatch in a minute, but they basically find it has this psychic music, so they play it and it hatches Godzilla. It turns out it's a baby Godzilla. Now this is different than many of the previous in the Showa era. Um, Manila back in the Showa era looked like a humanoid Godzilla. Um, while it's when it's born, it's obviously going to look like that, but it's going to grow fairly quickly. Yeah, there's the psychic music thing. There's always a love interest in these stories. But here's baby Godzilla hatching. Hopefully they'll show him, well, kind of. Yeah, well, there's his foot. See if I manage to, yeah, there's his top of his head. So yeah, so he looks like a little tiny Godzilla. So of course they're like, what the hell are we gonna do with the baby Godzilla? So they basically theorized that the unirradiated form of Godzilla lays their eggs in other dinosaur nest feet, in other dinosaurs' nests, like I believe it's the cuckoo bird that does that, where they'll lay their egg in another bird's nest, so that the other bird um, will incubate it and then hopefully feed their offspring. Very lazy birds, that. So basically, this is activate G-force is activating Mechagodzilla and launching him. And basically, he can fly. Um, so he's. Oh, it's entirely possible that they used uh, footage from that. There's a lot of in a lot of the movies they'll use footage from the other movies if they want to show the other monsters, but don't want to actually go to the trouble of putting them in the movie, with actors in the suits and stuff. So yeah, this Mecha Godzilla doesn't look as cool as the original one does, in my opinion. I have no idea, Martine. I have no idea. But, well, because, Baby Godzilla's good, I guess. But, so yeah, so they're obviously fighting. Um, Godzilla is actually gonna beat Mechagodzilla this time because the engine breaks and he's just gonna go on past him like he's nothing. So he's heading off towards Kyoto. Uh, they realize that obviously the defense forces trying to slow him down, but he's looking for his offspring or her offspring. I don't its offspring. I don't know whether it's male or female, but they don't really go into that. But yeah, so basically he's in Kyoto. He's looking for the child. Basically, Godzilla's unable to find him because they're hiding him in the basement, and so he's gonna be sad and let's see what sad and angry and forced to leave. Yep, see, they are hiding with baby Godzilla in the basement. So basically, the UN Godzilla squad is or team is G Force is gonna take baby Godzilla and put him into a enclosure at the headquarters at G Center. So basically, they'll discover that they're repairing Mechagodzilla there. Um, that's one of their ships. Uh, the G Crusher. So basically, it's designed to fire cables in. They're going to discover that the Godzilla species has a lower brain like a Stegosaurus, and so they're going to attempt to fire cables and fry that brain. So basically, they are hoping that it paralyzes him. Yep. So they're she's grown attached to Baby Godzilla, obviously. There's more of this B side, but why they let school children um, in to see a species like Godzilla in a place like that. Well, there's Rodan. But yeah, this is where they mentioned the second brain. That's where they made the plan to basically paralyze Godzilla from the waist down. So yeah, so it's keep in mind the only movie that's technically canon besides the ones in this one is the 54 Godzilla, the original Godzilla movie. That's the only one that's canon in the Heisei era because they've rebooted the canon multiple times now. I don't know, Ariel. I think it's stupid too. Let's, that's I agree with Picard when he first took captain. He's like he didn't like the families there. They're just getting in the way. But yeah, so they're all the UN Godzilla task force is obviously gonna is concerned about Godzilla, and this is where they bring in this is where they started bringing the psychic stuff where uh, there's the new Rodan. Looks a little different than the 56 version. But yeah, so they're basically going to use psychics. This is where they bring in the psychic stuff, and yeah, I know, Ariel. It's but they've rebuilt Mechagodzilla. So there's the G Crusher. But like I said, there goes Rodan. What's going to happen? This is the movie where he turns into Fire Rodan. There's a one thing I forgot to mention. There's this music that they're hearing that when Godzilla hatched, baby Godzilla hatched, is from a vine that was attached to the shell where the psychic music came from. So basically, that vine is going to put its energy uh, into Rodan. So Rodan will become Fire Rodan. And of course, he's got a heat beam now. It's uranium beam is what they call it. Yeah, yeah. I guess they did start that in Biolante when they did that. But this is when they started having them be part of the governmental team to deal with Godzilla. So yeah, so basically, what they'll do is G Crusher's going to combine with Mechagodzilla and form Super Mechagodzilla. So the Rodan either explode or something. Oh, I realized I told you that. I started to say, well, I mentioned that before, but then I realized that was part of the other stream. That no, that wasn't part of the other stream. I didn't make it that far. I'm thinking of something else. Sorry. Well, like I said in the other stream, it's been a minute since I watched these. I didn't have time to get to them because I'm in the middle of my final master's class where I'm putting together my thesis and stuff, and so all my time is spent towards that, and I'm on the last 2 weeks of that, fortunately. So I will have more time to do stuff. And so I don't remember. Well, see, no, because he doesn't actually come back. Fire Rodan doesn't actually come back until Final Wars. I don't remember him being back in any of the other two or any of the previous Millennium movies. So he might explode. I don't recall off the top of my head. You seem to have watched this more recently than I have. But there's Super Mechagodzilla. He basically just the other ship makes a backpack. That's with guns. So the it might be Rodan's because Rodan's breath is they call it uranium breath. It's actually different than Godzilla's atomic breath, so that might do something to the coding. Yeah, there's the cables that they're trying to paralyze Godzilla, but unfortunately he heals quickly. Well, fortunately for me, because I'm a big Godzilla fan, but even when he's a villain. But yeah, so oh, since the early 2000s. Oh, I think I've watched them. I'm thinking I watched them about 6 years ago. I did a whole Godzilla uh, week where I was just watching all the Godzilla movies from 54 all the way up to I think Godzilla versus Godzilla King of the Monsters I think was about to come out, and that's why I was watching all the movies. Yeah, that's how this version of Burning Godzilla uh, comes. Okay, yeah, you're right. I'm wrong. I feel like an idiot now. I guess you should be describing these instead of me. And yep, you're right. He transfers the his energy to Godzilla. We just saw that. So yeah, this is that's the end of the movie because Baby Godzilla is looking up at Godzilla and they're gonna head off into the into the sea. Yeah, Mogera is, and the cool thing about Mogera is it's actually two vehicles. It splits into two, so it's hard to believe that something that tiny becomes something that big. But it is cute though. So hey, there's an American. Yep. So that's the end of that. Well, so yeah, that brings us to the end of this one. So yeah, so it looks like we're just gonna get to just two today, because of my screw up or something. It must have been my fault. Um, yeah, it's Godzilla versus Destroyers when he gets big. Um, the um, so the next movie that we're going to be doing is Godzilla versus Space Godzilla, and then we'll do Godzilla versus Destroyer, and then I'll squeeze in all three Mothra movies in one. I'll change up the I'll figure out some way to do it, and that so we'll do all three of the Mothra movies together, and that's where we'll round out the Heisei era. Now later on, uh, I'm gonna do Gamera. I'm gonna do a Gamera series. So I'll cover Showa, the Heisei era Gamera, and then the all the way up to the new Gamera anime, which is very good if you haven't seen it. I recommend watching it. So, but I'm sorry for the late, like I said, the mess up, and but hopefully next time it'll go a lot smoother. Oh, that's okay, Lady V. That's okay. But so yeah, so like I said, the next time we'll start there. And I don't have that scheduled. The next thing I have scheduled is, let me pull it up here. Sorry, because oh, they redid their thing again. The next live stream that I have scheduled for next week is probably, yeah, it's another Starfield adventure. So that's Halloween day, so I'll probably dress up. I'll wear my monk's robes or something, or I'll pull out my medieval wear or something. Um, and then on the November 7th, I'm actually going to play a completely different game. I'm going to be back playing Bully by Rockstar Games. I'm doing the Scholarship Edition, but uh, yeah, so I'll be starting to play through that. Oh, you didn't like the animation? Oh, that's to each his own. Well, thank you, Lady V. Yeah, and so yeah, that'll be the next one, and then on November 14th, I'm actually going to be discussing For All Mankind and Beacon 23, because those come out in November. And then on November 21st is after the first episode of uh, Legacy of Monsters, Monarch Legacy of Monsters. So I'll be discussing that. Yeah, I'll do that in Ariel. I'll be doing the the Godzilla anime movies as well as Godzilla Singular Point when I do the Reiwa era, which is the current era, which is when I'll cover Shin Godzilla, and hopefully I'll have Godzilla -1 by then too. I'll have at least seen it, because that, you know, that comes out here in the United States December 1st, because you know I'll be there opening day. So, but now tomorrow on Pop Culture Minefield, I am doing Cyberpunk. Well, I liked it, Ariel. So, I mean, then again, I have been known to have some strange tastes. But I'm doing Cyberpunk tomorrow on Pop Culture Minefield. We are dealing with Mr. Hand in order to further the quest for Phantom Liberty, and eventually get the president out of Dogtown. So I hope you'll join me over there tomorrow. And then on Friday on Pop Culture Minefield, I am back to Baldur's Gate 3, where we will take down that guy. I've prepped for it. That demon is going down. Actually, I'm going to talk him into it, because I respect my character to Bard, so I'll be able to make all those checks, make that one insight check, and then the two, you know, the two convincing checks, the two persuasion checks, because yeah. So, but so that's where I will well, actually, this is where Sir Lancelot's going to go away for a little while. But as soon as I defeat that guy, I'm going to go back to camp and respawn, and I'll bring Sir Lancelot back. And that dog is not evil. He's a sweet dog. He even brings me stuff. Although a lot of times it's just like bone or something, but you know, he has brought me a ring, so there's that. So, but I'm going to get out of here. I thank you all for joining me, and I look forward to seeing you all tomorrow, hopefully, over on Pop Culture Minefield. And you guys have a good rest of the night, and we will see you tomorrow.